This is where a lot of people miss for some reason, but content is primarily about one, discoverability, and two, and that works for B2C, that works for B2B. And if you can increase that to the highest level, that is what's going to get people to a purchasing decision faster. I'm not always after the highest amount of reach. I'm after the highest amount of intent. Like, I don't need 100,000 impressions. I need 50 email signups, and doing it in a way that always feels like giving rather than asking. So when I put a link in a post, for example, it's always like, hey, do you want this free system? That way it's never like, book a call if you're interested.
Yeah.
That comes off very asking and very grasping, and we don't want that energy. We want the energy of somebody who gives in their content. And the way to do that is by creating...
You made, was it $221,602 in a year from LinkedIn? Yeah. I want to talk about how you did that. I feel like the more that I've learned about content, it feels like the content is like the tip of the iceberg, and there's like this foundation underneath it. This, like, I first thought, okay, I'll post content and then they'll buy. It's like, okay, wait. And then even now it's like a discovery call is kind of a big ask as like a first thing for someone, just like a stranger coming in. So like, how do you think about designing those stages in the path from someone going from like watching your content all the way to the end of it being like the core offer?
Yeah, it's micro steps.
Micro steps.
So with, I believe what you're saying there, like the post content somebody buys, that mentality, I think that worked 10 years ago when content was a relatively new thing. Trust was higher in the market, right? People just inherently trust more stuff online back in the day because, why wouldn't they, right? There was less market saturation as well, and just less people online, less AI as well. And what's happened is that with the increase of market saturation, with the decrease of trust, with the increase of AI generated everything, what happens is that people need more proof before they purchase. And so the way we deliver proof is in the form of micro steps. So content is primarily about one, discoverability, so getting seen in the first place, getting a stranger to see your face in the first place, and two, deepening a relationship. Okay, but I find something that we've done that resulted in it was very successful for us, was essentially creating some kind of low ticket offer for what we do, and that way people can try out what we do before committing to the full stage, right? So typically what I say is people should create some kind of low ticket offer that's like 5 to 10% of the price point of their primary service. And then that way people can get a feeling for you and get a sense of your IP and all that before committing to the full purchase. And that works for B2C, that works for B2B. It's the Costco cheese sample, right? So if you taste the cheese, there's a reason why they do that, right? Taste the cheese. That's going to allow you to like get the whole block of gorgonzola or whatever, when you might never have purchased a block of gorgonzola in your life. So that's how I'm seeing it. It's not so much a funnel anymore as it is like a web. So we see this in our own email. So we use ConvertKit or Kit now. And we see the people who typically, buy into Video Heroes, which is our community, are people who have downloaded like 3 lead magnets and they consumed content for like a couple months at least. So that way they have, they take their time, right? It's not a linear thing at all. And so the more of these micro steps that you can give them before they purchase your big thing, that is how you get what I call, or what's called, time under attention. So just the amount of time that a prospect spends with your face, and if you can increase that to the highest level, that is what's going to get people to a purchasing decision faster.
So then that makes a lot of sense. So with your like the Costco cheese analogy, are you then taking with your content that you're making, then you're just kind of pointing everyone to that cheese stand?
Always.
Try out this cheese. Try out
Always.
this cheese.
Yeah.
Try out this cheese.
So you'll see in all of my posts I have a link. Like some people say links ruin reach or whatever on
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Uh, maybe they do. But what I find, I'm not always after the highest amount of reach. I'm after the highest amount of intent. And so if I make a post, it gets, I don't know, anywhere from like 2 to 10,000 impressions. And from that one post, I get 20 to 50 email signups. That's worth it for me. Like I don't need 100,000 impressions. I need 50 email signups, because that's a much higher intent um, prospect than a passive viewer, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
So it almost seems like identifying that intent is a good first step. Like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah. So again, it's just like creating those steps for them, right? So and doing it in a way that always feels like giving rather than asking. So um,
yes.
when I put a link in a post, for example, it's always like, hey, do you want this free system? Right? And it's a free system, it's a free training. You're welcome to have it. And that way it's never like book a call if you're interested or like book a call,
Yeah, yeah,
call
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That comes off very asking and very grasping, and we don't want that energy. We want the energy of somebody who gives in their content. And the way to do that is by creating free or low cost things that people can try out in their own time and just offering it to them and say, hey, if you need help with this, I made you something, right? And now you're giving instead of asking. Yeah.
That's so good. And so when we're thinking like, okay, we're taking that, we're saying we're trying to give, not take. We're creating these free things, these low ticket things that are actually giving value to someone. And then in the content, you're giving that, you're giving that. How do you view the actual, like, I don't know, the vehicle of that, like video or written post or that content? Do you like, what types of videos do you create within that? Uh, are you putting any type of video up and then putting that link in there? Or like, how are you viewing like what types of videos to create to get
Mhm.
those leads or that intent to that email sign up for you?
Yeah, so it's a lot of this is experimentation, right? I think
Yeah.
that's something that marketers, if a marketer doesn't say that is experimentation, they're lying.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but so I tend to put links in everything. I might not do that in the future, we'll see. But as of the time of recording this, I put links in everything. And um, the way I see video creation, let's stick to video because videos, wow, it's like my zone of genius.
Yeah.
Um, I visualize it like two wheels. Okay, this is kind of how I see it. And one wheel is to get attention, and the other wheel is to build time under attention. Okay, so we get
Yeah,
attention with
yeah,
one,
yeah.
and we build time under attention with another. And so when it comes to creating videos for each of these wheels, the first wheel of getting attention in the first place is that we need to find a way to attract an audience who doesn't know who you are yet, and they should be able to watch the video without having to know your name or what you do. Okay. And I think this is
Mm-hmm.
a big thing that a lot of people, especially like business owners, B2B, that kind of stuff, they get
Yeah.
this mistaken is that they lead that what they're doing is they're taking some kind of like nurturing middle of funnel piece of content and then they're shortening it so it's like 30 to 60 seconds and then calling it top of funnel, but it's not because the issue is somebody has to know who you are and what you do before they watch those kinds of videos. The idea with a true top of funnel to get that attention is that it has to, like the viewer, they either have to know the thing you're talking about, right? It has to be a
Yeah.
relatable
Yeah.
story that they can relate with personally. It has
Yeah.
to be a
Yeah.
joke that they find funny, these kinds of things. And
Yeah.
none of these, the way I put this is like I like to scroll Instagram with my wife Jenna, sometimes before going to bed, and just like to find hilarious reels and shit.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of comedians on there that I don't know their name, but I've seen their face a number of times, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they keep popping up in my algorithm because we keep liking their reels, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It's this idea, right? I don't need to know your
Yeah.
name in order to enjoy your content. Okay. So that's true top of funnel. Um, to go into the second wheel of deepening that time under attention now, this is where we're creating videos that are basically just nurturing or proof. Okay, so a nurturing video often it has something to do with showing your system and showing the nuts and bolts behind it. Okay, so something that wouldn't be obvious to the casual observer. Okay, so a lot of business video people. I mean, even like Alex Hormozy does this. Talking about the like his 8-step process to like turn a business, to scale a business to $5 million, or the 4 different kinds of businesses and sort of the shapes that they take. And often they use like a visual diagnostic to like move people through some kind of visual to diagnose their problem. And that would be more of a middle of funnel piece of content. Okay. So it's sort of showing your expertise. And then the last one would be proof. So just showing this, and weirdly, this is where a lot of people miss for some reason, but like showing proof in the form of numbers and screenshots and I did this, here, look at the results of the thing that I did. That is the thing that gets people to shit or get off the pot. And this is how we stack FOMO. So a really, 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 really beautiful way to do this is essentially you do something, you work with somebody. So in my case, like, it could be either I could work with a client, or I could have a top of funnel that does well, like a top of funnel video that does well.
Okay.
And then I can make a bottom of funnel video about that, right? So, and then that way, I did this thing, and then look how well this thing did, right? And then that combination creates FOMO. So when you do something and then report on the thing by reporting the numbers, you are building FOMO, and that's how you do it. So that's what I'm thinking of when I'm going to create videos, is like these two sort of camps, and I don't blend the two. I keep them separated, and that way I'm measuring for impressions and reach when I'm creating something top of funnel, and I'm just measuring for like, click-through rates, email signups, that kind of stuff when I'm going for the second one.
I love that. That's super clean and clear to me, especially the time under attention, the nurturing and the proof thing, the sharing the nuts and the bolts, showing the expertise of the nurturing and the proof of showing the numbers, the specifics, the results, what happened. That's like that circle to me, even more clear. The attention, the reach, when we're going into that one, is still in this conversation so far in my head, it's still a little vague of like, Wild West open. Like, how Wild West open are you doing? Are you like talking about experimenting? Like, would you experiment with just a skit unrelated to business at all, unrelated to video at all? Like, what are your guardrails when you're kind of thinking of that circle?
Yeah. Good question. So I think, thank you. That's actually a good point to make, is that top of funnel that's unrelated to your services doesn't help your business. So I wouldn't do that. It's not about doing TikTok viral trend dances and that kind of stuff. So I'll just give a couple of tangible examples of what we've done and what have worked for us. So one example is one of our primary strategies that we've done, me and my wife and co-founder Jenna, is something we call trust bridging. So what we've done is we've featured other creators, or even collaborated, like podcast style, similar to what we're doing right now, and discussed with them points about our business, kind of like what we're doing, right? You help people get leads. We're talking about getting leads, right? This has to do with your audience, right? And the people you're trying to target. But you get the added credibility of bringing on a guest who might have a slightly larger audience, might have trust built up with their audience, and you get to benefit from that trust, right? So this is totally top of funnel, right? So it's just a different form of top of funnel. It's more about relationships and more about partnership building with this form of top of funnel. So that could totally be one, because now, say I make a video with Lara Acosta, for example. People don't need to know who Lewis Butterfield is. They just need to know who Lara Acosta is to watch the video, right? Yeah. Therefore, it's top of funnel, because they are more willing to watch the video because they see Lara's face, they stop, they watch, they listen, and they're like, hey, I kind of like this Lewis guy. Sure, I'll pop a follow. Okay. Yeah. So that's one form, like super tangible, relates to your services. Anybody can do this. Great form of top of funnel for B2B business owners. The second form is something it's a little different, but it's similar. So right now, what we're doing is because I like funny shit. I like watching comedians. That's just sort of like who I am.
Yeah.
We've started doing these skit videos where essentially what we're doing is we're taking cringy LinkedIn DMs or posts, typically text posts, and turning them into satirical songs. Okay. And for us, what that does is that it showcases that video works on the platform because that's part of our value offering is that we make video for business owners, right? Um, but two, it also relates to the platform that we're marketing on, like our primary platform, right?
Yeah.
So like a
Yeah. Yeah.
LinkedIn
Yeah.
person could stop and watch a LinkedIn thing and they're like, oh yeah. Or even any platform, like somebody on Substack making fun of LinkedIn or even on TikTok, everybody likes to make fun of LinkedIn. And
Sure.
so if we make fun of LinkedIn, that sort of hops on the bandwagon of like, oh yeah, LinkedIn is kind of cringe. And so everybody can get behind that, right? So in that way, we've trust bridged into it's not necessarily like a person that other people know, but it's more like a way of being, like an inside joke almost.
A thing about the platform that people on the platform get because they're on the platform.
Yeah, exactly. So that way there's like we're talking about the platform here. We all know that the platform's kind of cringe. Therefore, you can stop and watch the video because you already agree with me, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would be another form of trust bridging. And then I'd say the third form of top of funnel video that you could do, we've done this one a bit, but not as much. It's basically instead of um, featuring another creator, like in a podcast similar to what we're doing right now, you would you don't have to feature them. You just have to break down what they're doing successfully, right? So
Yeah.
a really good example of this is, I was scrolling on YouTube the other day and I saw a YouTube short come up and it was like how much each like soccer or football, wherever you live, how much the most paid soccer players in the world are paid, right? And how much they make. Okay, starting from number 10 to number 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do I know the creator who made that? No, but I stopped and watched because he was talking about these people who I know, right? If you watch soccer, if you watch
Yeah.
football, then you understand who these people are, and you might have some kind of interest, right?
Yeah.
So that's like a third way where like he didn't have to bring on like Messi onto his podcast,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
gets to talk about how much Messi makes, and then therefore you're kind of interested because you know who Messi is already. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So like the three ways that you said of like the attention circle, we have the collabs,
Mhm.
stuff like this, which is you just ripping off your playbook, trying to take notes from you.
Love it.
And thank you for being here and doing it. And then skits where you're kind of um, talking about the platform, something that people would know about the platform because they're on the platform. They get that it's relatable.
Yeah, it's like humor. It doesn't have to be about the platform. Like
Okay,
another example of humor's harder, okay? Because not
sure.
everyone can do humor. But somebody who's doing it very well, or a company that's doing it very well, is ClickUp. I don't know if you've ever seen ClickUp's videos when the HR meeting goes too hard and they like
Okay,
do these spoof. And it's because people who've been in an HR meeting know it's boring as shit. And so they make this spoof video about how the HR meeting goes too hard. They're singing, they're like dancing
got
and
it,
doing
got it,
these
got it.
ridiculous things, but they're tapping into like something that people already know and then just making fun of it. It's kind of like a meme, right?
Yeah,
They're just making a meme. It's harder to do. That's why unless you got like a real like funny bone in you and you just love
sure.
comedians,
Yeah.
it's not usually the first choice. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so that's not to put this the pinpoint it on the platform of LinkedIn, but just on something that people would know. In this case, maybe
Hmm.
businessy sort of things that people would have experiences in, and people would just kind of know about. So they don't have to know about you or what you do; they know about that thing. And
Yes.
then the third one being the breakdown of someone else or something else that again people know. Like there's the breakdown of what people know.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. In a non-humor way, just in a pure like educational way.
Educational
Yeah.
value. Well, dude,
Hmm.
I want to respect your time. Um, thank you so much. This was awesome. I learned a lot on this, and this was great. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to kind of share what you know.
Mhm.
If someone wants to learn more from you and Jenna, where should they go?
Yeah, you can go to my LinkedIn. It's just Lewis Butterfield on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And right at the very top, you'll see some links. You can click on those. We have a free training. It's how you can build the same passive video funnel that we've used to generate all this wonderful income and get all these awesome clients. And yeah, check it out. It's awesome.
Go check out his Costco cheese.
Yeah.